Hello, everybody. It's about that time. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. This ought to be a tasty treat. This is St. Arnold's Brewing, and they're out of Texas. They're out of Houston, Texas. Uh, this was sent to me by Brandon C. Brandon sends me some awesome beers from down in Texas. Stuff I cannot get here in Virginia. And this is their Bishop's Barrel number 14. And he's taken the time to add an additional label here on the back. It says here, Bishop's Barrel 14 is a Russian Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee. Uh, and the information he's put on here, date brewed was May 28th of 2015. Date racked is June 17th of 2015. Date bottled is June 7th of 2016. And the beer style is the Russian Imperial Stout. And the type of barrel was the Woodford Reserve bourbon barrels. The alcohol was 10.1% ABV prior to barreling and 12.1% after barreling, 33 IBUs. So he's taking the time to put that additional information on the back. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. Russian Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee. The only drawback to aging or cellaring a beer like this very long, of course being 12.1%, the alcohol, it's going to keep for a while. But the coffee sometimes fades if you try to cellar this beer for a long period of time, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. This beer is still going to be good 20 years down the road at that ABV. But the coffee is probably going to be faded substantially if you cellar it that long. So anytime you see the beers that are brewed with coffee, even though they're bourbon barrel aged, that coffee is going to fade a little bit over time. So you might not want to cellar this one real long because the coffee is going to fade over time, just like hops do in IPAs. So you might want to drink it within a year of doing that, and even 12 months after it was bottled, it may have lost some of its coffee by then. So if you like that big coffee notes, drink it fresh. Big Boys beer, 12.1%. Drink it at home, guys, unless you got a designated driver. This is a sipper. I tell you that all the time. This is not something you want to chug. It's a 12-ounce bottle, but I'm sure it was not a cheap 12-ounce bottle being done. Anytime you see this stuff that's bourbon barrel aged, and then they've added coffee and all that kind of stuff to it, it drives the cost up. It does. Would not be surprised if it was not between a $10 and a $15 bottle of beer. Would not be surprised at all. So, commercial description is basically the same thing I just read off the back. It's a cult favorite Russian Imperial Stout used for both the Divine Reserve number 5 and 15. The original beer is rich with chocolate, toffee, and roast. And with BB14, we wanted to explore the complexity of balancing these flavors while going a bit further and adding a new element, coffee. To do this, we first aged the beer in the Woodford Reserve bourbon barrels for 11 months, where it picked up notes of oak, vanilla, coconut, and bourbon. And after this, we partnered again with our friends at Java Pura to find a roast that complements the flavors. After several trials, we selected the espresso blended roast. The completed blend with the coffee additions subdued the overwhelming alcohol heat that is typical of the Russian Imperial Stout and brought balance to a style that is usually defined by being unbalanced. So, they went an extra step on here by adding the coffee and subdue some of the alcohol and Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So, and like I said, this was bottled in June of 2016, and this is October of 2016. So, July, August, September, October, it's about 4 months in the bottle. I'm doing this on the 11th, so it's not quite 4 months, almost, in the bottle. So hopefully the coffee hasn't faded too much in 4 months. So, food pairings for this style of beer being the Russian Imperial Stout. It goes well with the chocolate dishes, of course, and glassware, a pint, backer, non-tumbler snifter. I've got my favorite snifter today, guys, and here it says it can be seller, but just remember, if you try to sell this beer for a long period of time, the coffee's going to fade. So let's get the cap off of this bad boy. Final beer of the evening for me, so I hope it's a winner. I'm sure it's going to be. St. Arnold does some great stuff. We're going to pour this right down the center, being almost 12.1%. And as you can see, straight down the center, got about a half a finger of head on that pour. I can smell the bourbon from here. Wow, wow, wow. This is going to be good, I bet you. Over to the light, there is none, guys. It's pitch black. Look at that beer. That's a good looking stout. Russian Imperial Stout. Bourbon barrel aged. My favorite. Let's get a nose on it. Oh yes. Bourbon. Some woodiness in there from the oak barrels. Coconut. Vanilla. Not getting big coffee notes. I'm really not getting them on the nose. Of course, it's right out of the fridge, 40 degrees, and those are going to come out in the taste and as it warms up. But I am getting a little bit of the alcohol. I mean, it's a big beer. I love that bourbon aroma. I love it. Caramel, toffee, molasses, brown sugar. Hints of some dark fruit, dates, raisins, figs, plums. Ah, it smells wonderful. It's time. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Brandon. Big vanilla, coconut, bourbon, dark fruit, hints of tobacco, licorice. This would go great with Maduro wrapped cigar. Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. I think that's what I'll have to do. A wonderful bourbon aroma. Awesome. Wow. Well, let me take this out and sip on it on the deck. Fire up that deep, dark Maduro wrapped cigar to go with this while I'm sipping on it. And we'll come back once it comes at the room temperature and get down to the final chug and see where it ends up. Pretty impressive. Real impressive. Alright guys, I'm back. I've been sipping on it about 30 minutes or so. Very, very tasty. Guys, it's only been June, July, August, September, October. 4 months, and the coffee I think has faded substantially. Just ever so slight hints of any coffee being in there. If you weren't looking for it, you probably wouldn't even notice it, but it's coffee added to this beer. But other than that, it's an exceptional beer. It's a world-class beer. It's an outstanding beer. The bourbon and the oakiness and the vanilla and the hints of brown sugar and molasses and dark fruit are definitely there, and the bourbon is definitely there for sure. So a great beer. Just the coffee, I'm just not getting that big hints of espresso coffee and it probably has faded already in 4 months. So if you want to have a Russian Imperial Stout, whether it's bourbon barrel aged or not, that has had coffee added to it, you need to drink it pretty fresh. At 4 months, I'm just hardly getting any coffee at all in the beer. But everything else is there. Final chug. Wow. It is delicious, guys. Other than the coffee fading, I think it's an outstanding beer. Just not getting that big espresso coffee. And anybody's had espresso coffee, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe they should have went with something a little stronger. Maybe some Sumatra coffee or something like that. It's going to stand up a little stronger. But the coffee is faded already at 4 months. But everything else is there. The bourbon and everything else that goes with the Russian Imperial Stout is there. So very well done, guys. For me, 9 out of 10 because I'm not getting that coffee at 4 months. I would have thought the coffee would have lasted a little longer than that. So that's the only thing I can fuss about, that they put coffee in and I can't hardly find it. Everything else is there, guys. A great beer. A big beer, like I said, 12.1%. Very, very tasty. I enjoyed this. Brandon, thanks again, my friend, for sending me this one. It was awesome. It was awesome. Numeric rating for me, guys, would probably be about 98. Because I can't find the coffee. The coffee is just so subdued and faded already at 4 months that I just can't find it. So if it hadn't had it on the label somewhere or written in Beer Advocate and Rate Beer that it did have coffee added, I would have never noticed the coffee being there. But knowing that the coffee was added and trying to find that in there is really super subdued already. So don't sell this beer if you want to have that coffee flavor. If you have one, you might want to drink it now because the coffee is very subdued already. So over to Beer Advocate, they say 89, and Rate Beer has only had 8 people comment, so they need 10 before they'll post a rating. So they don't have a rating for it already. And for our final check-in, let's run over to Untapped. Untapped has it at 4.42, which is not quite to their A category. It's an A, but it's just the middle of the A. It's between the A minus and the A. 4.5 would bring it to their middle of the road A. So they're actually giving it an A minus and 4.42. I think it's a little better than that. It's got everything that they say it's got other than the coffee being subdued. So other than that, everything else is awesome. It's freaking awesome. So if you've had this one from St. Arnold Brewing, this is their Bishop's Barrel number 14. Very tasty. I enjoyed this. Thanks a bunch again, Brandon, for sending it to me. A great final beer of the evening. About time to have some dinner. Yeah, let's go do that. Alright guys, come on back tomorrow. Let's dig something out of the fridge. See you then.